Hello, it's Chris Gregory here with Love Yourself Humanity. Self being singular, humanity being singular. Hopefully, we can all learn through empathy to love all of each other and humanity and ourselves simultaneously. This video, I went out and did this on Christmas Eve. I didn't really have a lot of time that day. Christmas Eve day, I decided I wanted to make this video because it had been a long time for me for the charity side of my channel, which is actually the number one focus of my channel, even though I've got tons of other content about many other topics. It all is to funnel towards the idea of helping people. And so I went out and I found Jim, and he actually wasn't that hard to find. I just knew exactly where to look. I go to the Walmart on a regular basis in my neighborhood, and there tends to always be at least one or two potentially homeless people or just people who are under stress and down on their luck. Perhaps they're panhandling and looking for change. And so I took him to Mark's Merc Warehouse, where in Canada, that's where you buy kind of some pretty good work clothes and work boots and coats, things of that nature. And he pretty much found a coat for himself that was ironically the first coat he walked up to. He liked it and it fit him, and it even looked very similar to his coat he's wearing. And so that's what we got. And that's what I did. It's basically just a way for me to give back to the community. So I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and it can get extremely cold here, especially not nice to stay outside for any length of time. It can be as low as -30, and with wind chill -42 type thing. Happened only a few weeks ago. We're lucky we get Chinooks on occasion, a Chinook being a native word for a warm front of air that comes over the mountains, the Rocky Mountains from BC, and we're really lucky that that happens in Calgary. Sometimes it actually shifts from -30 one day to 0 by the next day, a solid 30-degree change, and everybody loves that. But at the same time, it can be unbelievably bitter cold. So I thought potentially one of the things that homeless people don't have is good clothing. There are places in town that offer available secondhand clothes to homeless people, but not typically a really nice coat or proper footwear. So that was my basic idea about this video, was to try to provide either one of those items to somebody who needed them in the middle of winter and that they're sitting outside fairly regularly. And so that's what I did. Hey, I'm Chris Gregory, and I just met Jim.
Pleased to meet you.
Woo.
I'm Jim.
And we're gonna go grab Jim a coat.
There we go.
Nice. Does it fit?
Perfect. Oh yeah.
Is it warmer than the other one?
Oh, I don't know if it's warmer, but
Well, it needs to be warmer than that one, or what's the point?
oh, well, we'll be with all the down in it. Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, for sure. Give me a coat.
Hey, Chris here again. I just want to thank Jim for coming out.
Thank you.
I really appreciate having him. And
Thank you, Chris.
Merry Christmas, Jim.
Merry Christmas, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Merry Christmas to the rest of the world.
Right on, man. I just wanted to help somebody out who maybe wasn't as warm as they could have been, and I had assumed potentially I would buy somebody some boots, or in his case he didn't need boots, and I thought he needed a coat. It took a little while to convince him, actually. He didn't think he needed a coat, and then he realized that he actually had a hole in the back of his coat by the neck, and that there was a couple holes in his jacket that were causing a draft. And finally I did talk him into it, and it actually really wasn't that hard after he realized he could use a new coat. So I took Jim in my truck to the Mark's Merc Warehouse, and he was a super good sport the whole time. I was actually kind of surprised how willing he was and convincing, or how easy it was to convince him to come along for a ride. And he just basically talked the entire time I was in the truck, and I didn't film it because I didn't feel comfortable really putting him on the spot, as it were, and or I didn't really want to project his life story. But some of the things he mentioned to me were that he had a massive surgery to his pelvis. At one point his pelvis was almost broken and worn completely through by his hip bone, and he was like somehow an experimental surgery to have that fixed, and managed to get it fixed luckily. But you can't even imagine the life that this man has had, having gone through this type of arthritis that caused that wear to the literal point where it almost was irreparable and almost broke his pelvis. And so something of that nature is hard for anybody to really go through and maybe potentially work through and not become homeless or even potentially addicted to pain medication. And these things happen to regular people all the time. So it's not anybody's place really to imagine and judge, I think, how people end up homeless. And I don't know if that's specifically the reason that caused it for him, but to be honest, it would be incredibly hard to work with the amount of pain he was in. And he did tell me he hasn't been drinking, and he's not an alcoholic anymore. He quit that, and he may do a little bit of marijuana from time to time to manage his pain, and that's it. And I can't imagine his life has had definitely a rough time. And so I just, it was really interesting to get to know him and simultaneously just maybe hopefully brighten his Christmas for half a minute. So I apologize to my subscribers that I've had accumulated up until now, because I've talked about doing these videos, and it's taken me quite a few years actually to get my head around what I really wanted my channel to be about, and to get as motivated as I currently am towards the end of making many videos and being able to find the time to edit them and get them out there is still incredibly challenging for me. I'm learning to adapt my work schedule versus my side hustle / YouTube channel / try to get free from hard labor at my current full-time job schedule. And it is tough for just about anybody, I think, who works mega full-time to find extra time. But I'm learning to do that, and I think it's a really important step in my evolution to understand and to learn that working harder is never going to get me to where I want to go, in a sense of working really hard at my current job. Working hard towards the end of having the way out of that job is more my aim at this point, and finding the ways to have more time to do that. Make maybe a little less money, say no to a side job or two, and just basically focus my extra time more effectively. And I really want to put these videos out there, and I really want this to be my future, so I'm going to work extra hard at it in the next upcoming amount of time. I'm going to make many videos, and I hope you guys subscribe to them. There's going to be a lot of content of random nature. I don't have an extremely specific channel of any kind, except for that love yourself humanity mantra is to sort of ripple through all of the different entertainment that there might be, and or instructional videos, things that I do know what I'm talking about, as well as this type of content. So don't be surprised to see many more videos coming up, and I'm sure they'll be varying quality, but I'm just gonna keep on going until I get better at this, because that's the only way to learn anything, is to try and learn from trying and learn from failing. And just please bear with me as I attempt to do that, and I know some of these videos are gonna suck, but I expect they'll get better with time. And thanks for watching. Hope you all live your best life and learn to love yourself, humanity.